What's up, guys? I'm Riven.
And I'm Talos.
We're the Studley Boys. Welcome back to the Studley News Network. In today's episode, we'll be doing a quick breakdown on the Marvel Avengers beta trailer that came out a couple of days. Plus, we'll also be reacting to Joe Rogan's comments on video games. We'll also be talking about the US Army recruiting on Twitch and the return of G4. As usual, timestamps will be down in the description below, as well as links to all the articles. If you enjoy the video, feel free to like and subscribe.
And also, too, guys, if you guys enjoy any discussion that we talk about here, be sure to check us out on Twitch. We stream there every Tuesdays, Fridays, and Sundays around 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
With that being said, let's get on with the news.
Let's do this.
All right, so moving on to our first article. We're going to do a quick breakdown on the Crystal Dynamics Marvel's Avengers game. They recently, so they recently put out like a 9-minute beta trailer showing you what to expect for the upcoming beta. So we're just going to do a quick breakdown on that and react to some of the new features. So before recording this, I showed Talos the trailer. So what do you think of it so far?
Honestly, dude, I was already hyped for the game, but now even more hyped for it because, obviously, it's almost like reliving that movie experience that we watch from the movies.
Yeah.
And you can control your favorite characters, and the real cool aspect of this is the fact that you're actually playing with your friends. So that adds a kind of more dynamic feel to it. So honestly, I'm excited for and from what I saw, the demo itself looks like, or the beta, I should say, looks like they have a lot of stuff in there for just to kind of gravitate to and everything. So a lot of modes, a lot of customizations for your characters. Looks like they really thought this through.
Okay, so let's start off with what type of missions that we can expect in the beta. They mentioned that the Golden Gate scenario it's going to be there. For anyone who hasn't seen the trailer yet, a couple of months ago when they first revealed this game, they showed the Golden Gate Bridge scenario with all the Avengers. So that's going to be the first mission. It's going to have, I believe, all of the Avengers there, and I think that might be like the very first mission in the entire game. So it sets up like the whole story.
So. Yeah, so they dive you right into the action.
Right. So they're gonna have a second mission, which involves the Hulk and Kamala Khan infiltrating like a secret Shield base for like Shield technology or something like that. So here's the gameplay right now,
and it looks beautiful though. The one thing that people kind of memed about though is obviously they don't look exactly like the movie versions of them. So people were pretty much saying, "Oh, this is like the fake Avengers," because of it doesn't look like what's it called Scarlett Johansson. It doesn't look like Chris Evans, anything like that. Or it's so people were kind of joking about that. But
yeah, I mean it's okay though, because well, first off, they don't have Chris Evans or Scarlett Johansson doing the voice acting. You have like Troy Baker, Nolan North, and Laura Bailey. I feel like it's possible maybe they based their likeness on their voice actors, but
maybe yeah.
But so far I like the way it looks. What I really want to know is how it fits into the actual Marvel Cinematic Universe story. Does it take place sometime in between Avengers 1 and 2, or between 2 and 3?
it might not even be part of this MCU, like the Cinematic Universe. It might be just its own thing.
Yeah, because
obviously the whole comic book stuff is it's massive. If you went ahead and read all the comic books and all the different dimensional stuff with there, so they can always play around with the idea, just based it on that versus making it based on the movies.
All right, so let's talk about what heroes will be available for the beta. So
obviously Iron Man.
Yeah, you have Kamala Khan. You have
Black Widow,
and the Hulk. So there's only four playable heroes. So obviously Cap and Thor aren't available, but I don't know. They might be available for the Golden Gate Bridge mission, because they are there.
Yeah, maybe limited. Yeah.
And so this is one of the features that's going to be in the demo, the harm room. So basically, it's pretty much like an augmented reality training center
Yeah, basically like a bit different challenges that happen, and then they get progressively more difficult.
Yes. Yeah, and as you can see here, they're fighting waves and waves of enemies.
It's almost like Dynasty Warriors in a way. It feels.
Yeah, well, it's sort of like the Marvel Ultimate Alliance games if you played them.
Oh no, yeah, true.
Yeah, so it's pretty much like top down sort of beat 'em up style. As you can see here, there's like different training modules, and of course you have
All the customizations here is crazy.
yeah. So they have gear. You can equip gear on them, sort of like an RPG now.
Which I like a lot. Like, obviously we talked about it briefly, but they have a bunch of like customizations to like upgrade your different abilities. If you pause here for a second, you can see on the top there, there's a melee rating, there's a melee rating, range rating, defense rating, and heroic rating.
Yeah.
And your level 9 character, 20 power. So, and at the very top you see skills, gear, cosmetics, collections.
Yeah.
So yeah, they have all kinds of stuff here. And these are all the unlockables.
Yeah.
And what's cool about this, they mentioned in the trailer, is the stuff that you do unlock on the beta is transferable into the full game.
Yes. Yeah. So everything you unlock, which includes skills, equipment, and cosmetic items, they will be transferred over to the full game. All right. So let's go over the war zones real quick. War zones are like sort of story-based missions. They have like objectives. And they were saying how they can take up to maybe 15 to 20 minutes, sometimes maybe even 2 hours, depending on what the mission is. So
that's pretty crazy for a beta, for a demo. So what's cool about this is you can either do it solo and have 3 AIs,
yes,
or with a buddy, or all 4 players having a character control.
Yeah.
So yeah, I believe they can drop in and out, right? It's not like they're set to that whatever mission.
Yes, yeah. So you can have AI fill in for whatever human player is missing. So I wanted to point out something here. As you can see, like the worlds are pretty open and wide. So there's different ways of getting around. They call it transverse abilities. So like you can see here, like the Hulk, he jumps around. Kamala is swings like Spider-Man.
Similar to Black Widow here as well.
Yeah.
She also swings around with her grappling hook. And of course, Iron Man flies around like a boss.
Yeah, so each character has like their own way of getting around. And Kamala and Black Widow, they swing faster depending on their momentum.
I like the fact that the different costumes. You saw Black Widow there with different costume as well.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
So here you go.
Yeah,
Here's Black Widow unlocking
some comic books.
Yeah. So you can, I don't know if they're like full comics, like maybe they're like readable.
I don't know. That'd be kind of cool. I don't think there is though. Right. Next is drop zones, and basically what these are essentially like smaller single missions that you can just play on the go with your comrades here, solo or with other members of your party.
Yeah, and we mentioned earlier, this is like one of those like 15 to 20 minute missions that are
Do you know? Did it say how many are included, or is it like randomly generated encounter, like almost like a dungeon crawler style?
I'm assuming there's one mission per each mode that they're going to include in the beta. Like here, you have gear for each character. It modifies like existing abilities. Maybe even gives you like new abilities. And here's like tech trees too.
So and at the top right, you see like the skill points you can earn during combat to like level up, similar to other RPG games that feature tech trees like this.
Yeah. And
of course, the exciting ones right here. Yeah, this is one of the exciting ones.
Yeah, so like each character has like their own ultimate ability. So they're showing Iron Man's here. He just summons the Hulkbuster, and he pretty much looks like a monster.
Yeah, like a beast. It's not just the Hulk doing Hulk smash. It's Iron Man too.
Pretty much. But this one can fly and fire lasers from his hands and stuff. Regarding AI. So the video describes it that you can customize each of the different Avengers your own way. You know, like you can dress them up with you know, whatever way you want them to look. You know, you can give them whatever skills you want or give them whatever gear. And if they ever need to come into the game as AI, they'll come in with those presets that you put for them.
Correct.
If that makes sense. So they're pretty much playing the way you want to play them. So you can customize your team the way you want them, you know, you want them to be. So they're not just giving you like a generic skill set for each AI. It's giving you something that you yourself personally customized.
Obviously, the game does come out on September 4th, 2020, and if you pre-order it now, you get access to that beta, and it's available for PlayStation first. So if you do want to play the beta, unfortunately, you have to pre-order it first. That's one of the caveats to this. But regardless, if you're going to play this game anyway, might as well pick it up and pre-order it and play a demo because it looks like it's pretty expensive.
Yeah. And one last thing I wanted to add to this, they already released the first DLC character, which is going to be Hawkeye. I don't know how to feel about that though, because Hawkeye is an original member of the Avengers, so I'm kind of surprised that he's not like a base character. They do have Kamala Khan there. I would have expected Kamala Khan to be a DLC character instead of Hawkeye, but I don't know.
Well, like we mentioned before in the very beginning, it's like it's probably not directly like the movies, so they're adding their own spin to the Avengers storyline because obviously the storyline is pretty massive, so they just add their own spin to it, like a creative spin, and you know, for the game.
Yeah. Alrighty, moving on to our second story. So this happened a couple of days ago. The podcaster Joe Rogan, you know, for anyone who doesn't know, he's pretty much the most popular podcaster in the world right now. He's also a commentator for the UFC as well, and he had a pretty spicy take on video games in one of his recent podcasts. I'm gonna play a small clip of it right now just to show you guys what he said.
And video games are a real problem. They're a real problem. You know why? Because they're fucking fun.
Addictive.
And you don't. Yeah. Well, I have a real problem with them. And you do them, and they're real exciting, but you don't get anywhere.
Right.
It's like you could do like martial arts, right? You could learn jujitsu. You get obsessed by jiu-jitsu, and then 3 years later, you're like an elite jiu-jitsu athlete. You're entering in competitions. You're a purple belt.
You're moving up.
Yeah, you're doing well. Right. You're thinking like, I might be able to open my own school one day.
You got confidence.
Yeah, if I have 100 students and those 100 students are paying me X amount of dollars per month, I can make a living. Holy shit, I can have this would be amazing. And then you see your jiu-jitsu school, and your jiu-jitsu instructor has all these students and drives a Mercedes, and he's got a nice family, and like, that's the future. This way, you're doing something exciting and fun, and you don't. Or you could just be playing fucking video games. 3 years later, you could be that same kid just playing video games, waiting for the next whatever the fuck game is, you know, next Xbox game to come out, and you're gonna waste your time. But there are kids that make a lot of fucking money playing video games. But the thing is, like, you have to be adaptable. You have to be able to play multiple video games, because the one video game that you get really good at, what are the odds that's going to be around 5 years from now?
Right.
You know, like, what's the big one now? Like Fortnite? Is that? Do they make money off of that? Yeah. Yeah. And then there's Call of Duty. They make money off that. What's the big money? StarCraft used to be the big one, right?
That, League of Legends, Counter-Strike.
Counter-Strike it's still the Half-Life mod?
Yeah, variations of it have come out, but it's still basically the same exact game.
They don't make money off Quake, though, right? Not really.
Nah, really.
No.
One or two guys do, I think.
Yeah, see, it's you got to pick the right game. You know, you could be obsessed with the wrong game.
What are you going to do? You're going to spend 5-10 hours a day in that
house? You
house?
have to.
Right.
You would have to.
He pointed out in the video basically that there's a lot of people out there that play video games and it's a waste of time. And it kind of struck home a little bit because obviously, like I said, there's two sides to this. Like one where you're defending Joe Rogan, one that you're kind of going against. So I'm going with the approach right now to going against what he's saying. Okay. Obviously, video games are not a waste of time if you put the effort into it. Like if you're playing it for fun, you know, whatever. But obviously, those who don't know Joe Rogan, I guess he had like a video game addiction at one point.
Well, yeah. So let me add a little bit of context here. He was addicted to Quake for a good portion of his life. I remember he mentioned in his podcast how he spent probably like hundreds of dollars just so he can get a rig just to play Quake. And he's gotten a couple of people from id Software before. You know, he had John Carmack on the show, so he cares about games, and I think that was his point. The point he was trying to make is games are too fun, you know, and he recognizes that he has fun with the games too, and that's sort of a bad thing because you can get addicted to something.
Yeah,
if it's too fun.
And that's true. Like in some regards, I do agree with him. Like there's a certain point where you have to realize that these video games are a waste of time. And it's best to kind of like do something that's like more productive. Like I think the example that he used was like mixed martial arts. Right?
Yeah, he mentioned his comparison was jiu-jitsu. He was saying how
Jiu-jitsu.
if you spent, he was basically saying if you took the amount of time that you're using for video games and you put that into something like jiu-jitsu, you know, you actually have like a skill that you can have. Like you can choke people out, you can beat up people, or you can defend yourself on the streets. Or if you wanted to, you can also set up, you know, a jiu-jitsu school and then make money from students teaching jiu-jitsu. Well, the thing is, like when you do anything for an excessive amount, it could be harmful to you, right? Even something that you may consider productive, you know, anything in excess can be dangerous, right? Like take jiu-jitsu for example. It's not a gentle sport, right? You can sustain injuries. You know, there's arm bars and kimuras. You can definitely injure some joint. You know, you're rolling on your back and stuff. There's like a lot of hip and low back injuries that you can sustain.
This is coming from somebody who likes to work out too.
Yeah. So like I've worked out for a couple of years, and like the one thing I've learned from working out is learning how to dial things back, because when I first started, I was going like 110% into it, to the point that I was like pretty much destroying my body. So just dialing it back and, you know, just letting my body rest and not being so you know, obsessed with it. I've learned to enjoy it
Or
more.
addicted to it, right?
Yeah,
addicted to it.
You can get addicted to anything. You know, it's like anything can be bad. And I think Joe Rogan could have used any example. And he would have, you know, he still would have made a good point. I think he was just picking on video games. Like my personal favorite hobby is guitars. Like I have a couple of guitars there in the background. Like I'm not gonna be using that, you know, to make money. Like I'm not gonna be like a rock star or something like that. You know, I'm not gonna be making money off of it. You know, but I do dedicate like a couple of hours every day to practice on it. You know, you can argue my hobby is like a waste of time.
Though I think the point that we're trying to really get across here, it takes more than just enjoying and being passionate about it. It really takes like, you really have to be kind of like really motivated to like get out there. Like let's say for the guitar example that you're saying, like if you really want to be a rock star, actually doing shows, getting fans, getting a manager, you know, touring, you know, like all that grinding, you know, if you want to be like somebody who's like a ninja, you know, going out there getting sponsorships, talking to like doing collabs, you know, doing the business side of things, not just playing video games.
Yeah, but at the same time, I understand where he's coming from. You know, he's, you know, in a way he's right. You know, when you're playing video games, you're just sitting there. You know, you're really not getting anything out of it. I mean, it's the cold hard truth. You know, you're just it's just like a quick getaway from the real world, you know. But I think the point that he's trying to make is like a lot of people they get too reliant on that, and they don't use that time to do something productive.
As long as it's like not like an addiction, like we were talking about earlier. If it's not like consuming your life, like ruining relationships or anything like that. Instead of you like going outside and enjoying life and just every single minute of the day is like playing video games. As soon as you get home from work, for example, or if you work at all, that of course is not healthy.
Yeah.
But if you're doing it because of like with the intention of like making that into like a business, it makes sense. But of course, you still have to think about the personal side of things as well, like your personal well-being, your health, and your relationships, your family relationships, and anything like that might involve this passion life choice that you may or may not want to actually pursue.
Ninja responds to Joe Rogan video game criticism. Following Joe Rogan's inflammatory remarks on video games during his latest podcast, Ninja responds in a 2-minute long video on Twitter.
Basically, it's kind of like what we talked about before. Joe Rogan's talking about the top 1% who are successful at becoming like a streamer or an esports player or anything like that. And not everyone can be at that top 1%, getting all the sponsorships, getting all of the deals, getting all of the money and recognition from it. And there's a lot of people that are trying to strive to be that. So if you're like tier 2 or tier 3, like Ninja was saying, like you might not be making that much money or have any sponsorship whatsoever, but or not getting all the kills, but you can also do other stuff as well, like being a coach.
Streaming is a big one.
Streaming is a big one, but streaming is also pretty competitive as well, like we talked about before. Like not everyone. The people that actually make a lot of money on Twitch or YouTube gaming or Facebook gaming are typically like the top, not like less than 1%. If you look at this, like the actual statistics of it, actually make decent money from it. Everyone else is just kind of getting by, like the usual like status quo stuff, but they're not like usually successful at it. But you can still make money from it.
Yeah,
is what Ninja was trying to say.
Yeah, there's different avenues to make money in video games. Not just you can get into like journalism too. You can make YouTube videos.
That too.
People make plenty of. You can get into video game development as well. That's also another thing. So it's not just you're in your parents' basement just playing World of Warcraft all day. There's definitely a lot of avenues to make money.
There is a way you can like take something from whatever you do, whether it be working out, jiu-jitsu, or editing as a skill. As long as you take something from that and be productive and not just quote unquote just do something just to waste time.
Yeah.
But if you are just doing something like video games to waste time, just to kind of escape the world, there's nothing wrong with that either, as long as it's balance.
I originally didn't want to cover this this story because at this point we're covering it now. I feel like everyone has said everything that needs to be said on the subject. Everyone already made very good points about it. A majority of people still consider video games sort of like a nerd's activity. It's still sort of it's gotten mainstream over the years, but at the same time, it's not fully mainstream. People still think of it as like it's like a waste of time, like you're just rotting your brain or something, you're not getting anything useful out of it.
Correct.
So video games have gone through like a lot of stuff, like even in the 90s with the Mortal Kombat and the ESRB ratings and stuff like that. And like even with the Columbine shootings, video games got blamed for that. They were saying how video games turn people violent. So there's still a lot of negative.
Even Donald Trump also criticized video games for being violent too.
Yeah. But I think it's important for us as gamers to sort of defend it because video games need that voice to sort of support it and defend it.
I think a lot of people are a little bit kind of sensitive right now, especially like nowadays in 2020, where everyone's stuck at home and they're trying to do something like productive, whether it be play video games on like streaming. And I think a lot of people are being a little bit, I guess, sensitive in a way because like it's attacking them directly, and it's not meant to hurt anybody. It's not meant to like persuade people to stop and quit because you won't be that top 1%. Because you could be if you just put a lot of effort into it. Joe Rogan is really just kind of like saying that you really have to put like time and effort because it's not just playing video games. There's a lot of work involved with. If you want to be a esports player or a streamer or a YouTuber, it takes a lot of effort. It's not just doing one thing and hoping it succeeds. Sometimes it does if you're super lucky, but for the most part, it does take a lot of work and a lot of passion to really like do this consistently. All right, guys, we're moving on to Talos Tidbits, but before we do so, a word from our sponsors. Today's sponsored video is our Amazon affiliate links.
We set up links to the various equipment we use to stream and produce these shows. Every streamer and YouTuber needs a good mic, which is why we use the Blue Yeti microphone.
The mic that we use offers the crisp audio quality at an affordable price. So definitely check out the links down below for affiliate links, and any support there also supports us right here in the show. All right, guys, rolling into our first article here is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, the HD remake that we're waiting for, anticipating for. They're adding 37 new artists to this soundtrack. So obviously excited for that. Obviously, they're bringing up some old soundtracks that we know and love. Anthrax and Suicidal Tendencies are going to be added as well, if you guys recall those bands in the early games. In scary news, Kojima's in talks with a horror manga artist in a new project. It's very early though, but they just agreed to it, so something to be very excited for. In PlayStation Plus news, obviously for those who are into the 12 months of subscriptions, they're offering it right now for $33. We don't know how long it's going to last, but definitely pick it up as soon as possible for that instant discount. In Steam news, they're going to be introducing a new way, basically, to stop people from VPNing and purchasing games at a much discounted price. Now, this basically involves certain games that you can buy at a cheaper rate in other countries and other currencies. So what they're doing here is basically you're going to be paying for the game in your own currency to help alleviate some of that VPN abuse issues. In Halo Infinite news, developers are responding to some of the criticisms from the Xbox showcase on the gameplay. They're basically saying on the gameplay that they showcased, it was early built using the same specs from the Xbox Series X using a PC in its replacement. In EA-related news, they basically respond to why Star Wars Squadrons will only be $40 or 35 euros. Basically, what they're saying here is they're scaling down to focus more on the core of the game, which is their aerial combat. Going back to Sony, they're revealing a new TV here, and it's ready for PlayStation 5. From what the description we saw here, they're coming up with a new HDMI 2.1, where it will basically output 120 frames per second, full 4K, but unfortunately, these aren't available with the current HDMI cables on the current gen consoles, unfortunately. As you guys know, Hyperscape Beta was out, but they're officially going to be launching on PC, PS4, Xbox One this August. In Ghost of Tsushima news, for those that played that game, this game is one of the fastest sold games for any other new IP on the PS4, to include even The Last of Us Part 2. That concludes Talos Tidbits. If you guys want to see any of the articles that I talked about in more depth, links will be in the description for you to check out. Now back to the main segments. All right, guys, rolling into our big article here. Basically, the U.S. Army has kind of taken a headline here in the news recently, basically recruiting people through their Twitch streams. Now, obviously, that in itself, it's okay. It's okay to like recruit people and like make people aware that you can join the military and stuff like that. But the way they did it was a little bit on the sneaky side, where basically it was a link that was posted saying that, oh, you can win this controller, for example. Click on the link and it goes into the recruiting page. False advertisement. And that was kind of like what kind of triggered some of this stuff. And another piece to this was also the fact that they were kind of violating some free speech as well, where people were asking about some war crimes and some.
So as Talos explained, the U.S. Army has been using like Twitch and other esports platforms to do some recruiting, and they started building their own esports team. I know that the Army has their own Overwatch team, so they've sort of been getting their hands involved in esports. The Army team was participating on the Twitch Rivals competition, and they were forced to pause their stream because of the type of comments they were receiving from viewers. The viewers were asking about war crimes, and so the U.S. Army was forced to pause it so that they can review like internal policies and procedures, in reaction to some of that.
And when they talk about war crimes, what do they mean specifically, Riven?
Streamers from the U.S. Army and Navy, which includes active duty and reserve personnel, have banned viewers for asking about U.S. war crimes and for bringing up figures like Eddie Gallagher, a former Navy SEAL charged with war crimes after being accused of stabbing a 17-year-old prisoner to death and posing with the corpse. Gallagher was later acquitted of most charges following interventions by President Trump.
Stuff like that is sensitive information. Like that you'd have to be a need to know, or you need the right classification to actually know the information beforehand. And stuff like that shouldn't be presented to the public knowledge because it could cause unnecessary tension between the military and civilians.
Well, that's the reason why they paused it, right? Because they wanted to work on like procedures on how to handle it in the future. So it's sort of like a public relations sort of
Yeah,
issue.
definitely.
You know, because like so they don't want to accidentally say something that they don't have to or they want to or something like that. So they have to have like the right way to handle it. So I completely understand it. There's gonna be people who's gonna troll the chat and say stupid things, and you know, like I feel like they should have knew this and they should have thought about it a lot more before going on with it. Okay, so moving on to some recent updates to the story. So, U.S. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is planning on filing an amendment, which is a bill that would prevent the military using funds in the bill to maintain a presence on Twitch or any video game, esports, or live streaming platform. She says it's incredibly irresponsible for the Army and the Navy to be recruiting impressionable young people and children via live streaming platforms. War is not a game. And so the news just broke out today that both the Democrats and the Republicans of the House voted against her bill. So according to this this tweet by Shannon Lau, the vote is now 45 yes to the 105 nays. Majority is not in favor of AOC's bill. The U.S. Navy and Army have stated they will continue to stream on Twitch and decline to comment on pending legislations. And she replied, "Imagine trying to explain to your colleagues who are members of Congress what Twitch is." We've always talked about how most of the people in the U.S. government are old and sort of out of touch with the newer generation and like the new technological things that have come the recent years, like you know, like with streaming and Twitch and stuff like that. And one of the reasons why AOC is so popular is that I think she's only like 30 or something. She represents the current generation that feels like they're a little too young, that the older people in the government don't understand them. You know, she's a millennial. Like she plays video games. She plays League of Legends. You know, she plays Animal Crossing.
It's tough. It's definitely that gray area where obviously you have to recruit people, but you also have to be recruiting in like a favorable way. That makes any sense. Where if your main attention for this whole Twitch thing is to recruit, make that like transparent, like to the audience, like if before you like live stream or during the live stream or something like that. But if you're doing it in a way where it's like unintentional, like that, I feel that could be a little bit on the sneaky side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I feel like someone who wants to join the military should join because they want to, not because they saw someone play an esports game and I want to be like that. And I want to join the military and I want to because it kind of gives an impression like the military is fun and games, and for the most part, it's not. It's not all about what you see on Twitch. It could be rough out there.
I think what you were trying to say is you don't want the people that are recruiting to get like some sort of false impression of what it's like being in the military, right? Like they might try to lure you with, oh, you can join our Overwatch team. You know, that might seem attractive to someone impressionable, but
that gray area, like what's right, what's not right. Like at the same time, I understand that they want to recruit and like if they want to attract it, if they want to attract the attention of the demographic that they're looking for, it makes sense to be where demographic is. Twitch is for the mass majority, it fits that demographic between 18 to 30, and that's like the perfect age group to quote unquote join the military.
Yeah. Yes.
But
I mean, it's their right to promote wherever they want. If they want to promote on Twitch, they should. But like you were saying, it should be very transparent and honest. Alrighty, so moving into our last story. Video game network G4 TV teases return in 2021. Now, for a little bit of background, for some of us, like some of you younger gamers may not have been around for it. There used to be a channel on TV called Tech TV, and they used to show have a show called Extended Play, in which the host would talk about like upcoming games and do game reviews.
Yeah.
But that was like its first iteration, and then it eventually the channel became G4 TV, and then the show became X Play. And that's a show that everyone remembers.
Just kind of like a piggyback on this. I believe this is before YouTube, right?
This is like probably around early 2000s. You know, the internet was still around, but you know, it's not like what we have nowadays.
Yeah, because everyone's doing tech reviews and video game reviews and
Right.
all that.
Exactly.
But so
Exactly.
this is before that generation.
Yeah. So nowadays, as Tal was pointing out, you know, you can get your video game reviews and you know, previews of upcoming video games from anywhere now. But like back in the day, I sound like a boomer here, but back in the day, it used to be just like from video games, word of mouth, and you know, if you're lucky, you had Tech TV.
Magazines too. It wasn't on public channels. I believe you had to almost buy like a different package to have that channel included.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like everyone had this channel.
Yes, yeah, it was like a premium channel, I believe, sort of like like Showtime and HBO and stuff. So the show would have Adam Sessler, there's this gentleman over here, and his co-host Morgan Webb, and they would do like reviews on video games, and it was like some of the best reviews I've.
It was also pretty funny too because like sometimes like Adam Sandler had this like one bit where he just hated Final Fantasy, and he was like, "Oh, yet another Final Fantasy game." So when he does his reviews, it's almost like a sarcastic because I'm reviewing this because I have to type of deal. But I'm sure deep inside, I'm sure he enjoyed it. But still, he made video games entertaining and fun just by watching his reviews and his commenting over some of the game, basically the gameplay, characters and story, and like basically what we do right now when we do our reviews.
Yeah, so that's one of the things about the show. Like apart from the video game reviews and previews, you also had like little skits that they would throw in there, and you know, like recurring jokes and inside jokes and stuff like that. And it was a really, really funny show, you know.
And of course, that's just one of the shows that we're mentioning is this X Play, but obviously G4 it encompasses a big like demographic of like gamers, and that's what I thought was so cool about G4 because I finally found a channel where it talked about stuff that I was interested, which was video games. So they had other shows like Attack of the Show.
Yeah, Attack of the Show. I think was like it was like a lot of tech related shows too. I think.
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
It was like a lot of like tech, a lot of nerd and you know pop culture type stuff that was that they featured. I don't know if you remember. Science of Sex or something like that. They had like a show when it revolved around technology and sex and how sex is sort of shaped technology and vice versa. It was like a really really good show. I don't know if you ever watched it.
I don't remember it, but yeah, it does sound interesting. Where like it just makes like it talks about like tech and how it relates to the real world, and you know, is it going to be a TV channel or is it a YouTube series or what?
That's a good question. Well, first of all, do you know why they disappeared?
I think what it was is they were canceling a lot of good shows that we know and love. Like I think when they started like canceling like X Play and canceling Attack of the Show, a lot of the viewership for that like network died down. All they were showing at that time was like reruns of like Cops and I believe other reality shows and stuff. Yeah, they actually they made it less gamer focused and more like reality focused, and like that's not what people tuned in for G4 at the time. And the fact they were canceling all these shows also dwindled some of that viewership, and I believe that's the start of why they declined. But of course, the internet, of course, was another factor to include into that mix.
There's not a lot of information out right now. So far, they just like released like a couple of teasers on Twitter, saying that it'll come back. We don't know what type of format it'll be back.
It says here G4 is currently owned by NBC Universal.
Yeah, so it's possible it might come back as an actual channel, but the thing is, cable TV isn't as popular nowadays, you know?
Yeah, big time. It will make more sense if they just did it strictly as a YouTube channel.
Yes.
And I think that will probably drive in the demographic because people like that, they'll bring in like the nostalgic fans to come in because they obviously, you know, we love Adam Sandler.
Adam Sessler.
we obviously we love Adam Sessler. And when Olivia Munn, I know her for a little bit of the shows, but obviously I was curious why they didn't bring back Morgan Webb. I thought she'll bring a big appeal because I know she still does like journalism, right?
Yeah. They all still like work in the video game industry in some form or other.
Well, Olivia Munn, I believe, was on Attack of the Show.
Yeah. So Attack of the Show. They also had what's his name? I forgot his name. Kevin Pereira or something like that.
Yeah, Kevin Pereira. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. He still works with in the video game industry as well. So he's still around. But yeah, they got to bring back Adam Sessler.
Yeah, he's definitely the big key player that really drew the interest. And I did know that Adam Sessler tried to create his own YouTube channel. It was owned by someone else, but I think that channel died out too. I don't remember, but I do remember him having his own like show that he did by himself.
It might come back as like a YouTube channel, right?
I mean, we don't know, but to be honest, in the modern day, if they really want to be successful, I think it has to be. If they're going to go to like a network thing, then it has to be like streamable, like it has to be like free streamable content that people can actually like tune in and like add in like ads in there, so that way they can actually build revenue from it. But that's the only way I can see it succeeding, if it's streamable or if it's on YouTube or a platform like that. And
yeah, but it says here GeForce currently owned by NBC Universal, so they definitely have the monetary backing if they wanted to continue what they were, what they were doing. They didn't say that Attack of the Show and X-Play are coming back. They said
like
G4.
Specifically, yeah.
They said G4.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's why I assume that it's going to be like a channel that has like a whole bunch of different shows in it. If they brought back X-Play and Attack of the Show, that'd be kind of cool. Like they can just put it up on YouTube or possibly put it up on Netflix, right? And then people will watch it. But yeah, so I'm assuming there's other shows that they're gonna bring.
I mean, G4 also had like the Ninja Obstacle Course.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
But they had that show, and then they had this other show with like two Japanese commentators, and they always like dress in these like big poofy outfits.
Yeah, I think it's the same show you're talking about. It's
but
I think it was called Takeshi's Castle in the Japanese version, but the American version, like they overdubbed it, right? It was like some ridiculous dubbing.
Yeah, we'll definitely see where this goes. Obviously, this is only a tease, and 2021, it could be any time in 2021. It could be early, mid, even late 2021. So, but once we find more information on this, we'll definitely keep you posted.
Alrighty, that's it for the news for now. Thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned. We'll try to keep you guys updated on developing stories. If you enjoyed the video, you can always support us by liking and subscribing, and feel free to comment down below. What did you guys think about the topics we covered today?
Especially with Joe Rogan as well. That's a big one for us.
Yeah.
As gamers. But for sure, if you guys want to see us game, we do stream on Twitch every Tuesdays, Fridays, and Sundays around 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Also, check out our affiliate links down below to help support the show.
Studley signing out. See you guys later.
All right, later, guys.
Alrighty. Thank you guys for watching. Okay, that's not...
What was the high pitch?
That sounded like a hotel concierge or something. Okay, never mind.
Hi there.
Cut that out.